Hello, I'm Miamisburg Mayor Dick Church Jr. Welcome to the State of the City address for 2014. I'm very pleased again this year to bring you my annual report on the major activities related to the Miamisburg government and local community. What you'll hear in my presentation this year are some of the highlights from 2013 in Miamisburg and some of the things to watch for in the year ahead. I always look forward to bringing this report to our viewers, and I hope that you'll find the next several minutes to be informative and enjoyable. I'm proud to say that I'm an optimist by nature. I tend to see the good in people and try to stay positive about the everyday events in life. Certainly we all face challenges, but I have great confidence in our ability as individuals, as a community, and as a nation to overcome adversity and to achieve great things. We've had many challenges in my 22 years as mayor of Miamisburg, but I'm proud of how our local government and our community have responded to those challenges. We stand today as a vibrant city with many assets, well positioned for the future. We're not afraid to tackle big projects and lead on big issues. When I look out into 2014 and beyond, I'm optimistic about Miamisburg. As Helen Keller once said, optimism is the faith that leads to achievement. The things I see happening here tell me the future is bright, but getting here hasn't been easy, and maintaining our positive path won't be without additional hard work. For example, keeping our city government in sound fiscal condition has been a significant challenge for us since 2009. Maintaining the fiscal health of their municipality is job one for locally elected officials. That's the only way that we can provide the basic services expected by taxpayers, like public safety, street maintenance, and utilities. A serious economic downturn and several other actions taken by our state government in recent years took a severe toll on the revenue streams of cities throughout Ohio, including Miamisburg. But due to cuts in spending, an increased income tax rate approved by our voters, and an improved economy, we've been able to maintain service levels and stabilize the budget. I never lost faith in our ability to overcome these challenges, but I can tell you it has been tenuous at times. Another key factor in our ability to overcome this financial hardship has been some new economic development. Several prominent and diverse projects dotted the Miamisburg landscape in 2013. Importantly, these projects are taking place in areas considered the most promising for future economic growth here. New business brings jobs to our city, adds vitality to the community, and expands the local tax base. I want to review some of the most significant projects. Think Patnet is a full-service printing, marketing, and communications company that moved to Miamisburg last summer and brought 115 jobs here. The firm consolidated existing operations at 2 facilities in the region into a new 75,000 square foot building in the South Point Business Park off Alexandersville Road. This is a growing, successful business, and we're very pleased to have them in our community. Of course, the Austin interchange area off I-75 continues to see brisk development activity. In Miamisburg, I've told you previously about the first 3 flexible use buildings that have been constructed in the Byers Business Park and the tenants that they have attracted. Now I can report that a new development up the road, known as the Austin Business Park, is also moving forward. The first new building in the Austin Park was completed last summer and welcomed Mark Forn's Realty as the initial tenant. Then in the fall, a firm called Electropack also moved into the facility, and together they employ approximately 35 people. Several buildings are planned for the 80-acre light industrial office park site that could accommodate over 1,200 jobs when complete. The third significant project I want to review involves the rebirth of a local landmark. The longtime Peerless Mill Inn on South 2nd Street is now a microbrewery. Star City Brewing has on-site production of craft beers made from recipes created by its owners. Eventually, they also hope to distribute their products to area restaurants and bars. Microbreweries are a popular trend in the hospitality industry, so I'm especially pleased that the Peerless Mill site has an exciting new use. Importantly, Star City Brewing also provides a unique destination near our downtown district, which we've worked so hard to revitalize. And speaking of downtown, right along Main Street, the Bikeway Bike Shop is a new business that provides a perfect fit with efforts to incorporate river recreation into downtown revitalization in Miamisburg. These recreational opportunities include the regional bikeway that extends along the Great Miami River adjacent to downtown. Not only does the bikeway sell bicycles, but it also rents and services bikes, and we're hopeful that it meets a need in the market and attracts bicycle enthusiasts to our historic district. As I said, strategically, it's a great fit. The last development project I'll review was historically significant in our 20-year effort to reuse the former Mound Laboratory. BOI Solutions is a Miamisburg firm that became the first private business to purchase property on the Mound site. A developer of integrated audio, visual, and data technology systems, BOI brought 24 employees to this 2,000 square foot building at 955 Mound Road, and they plan to add another 30 employees within 5 years. These weren't the only new businesses coming to our community in 2013, but there's a reason I've highlighted them. It is especially noteworthy that these projects all reflect our most promising locations and our vision for future economic development in the community. Downtown, the Mound facility, and the Austin Byers area. So why has Miamisburg proven to be a popular location for business growth? Certainly our physical location is an asset, but I think there are other key factors that appeal to business people. The character of our community, our outstanding school system, the quality of life here, city services, and our political stability all make Miamisburg an attractive place to do business. We must continue to be aggressive when it comes to economic development. Projects like these are highly valued because they help us to safeguard against the lingering uncertainty with some of our revenue sources. We've bounced back to some degree from the financial difficulties of recent years, but we're still trying to improve our budget stability. Property values remain depressed in our county, and the state of Ohio budget decisions I mentioned earlier have cost our city over $1 million as they've gotten their own fiscal house in order. Cities and counties across Ohio spent time in 2013 trying to fend off the latest effort in Columbus to cut into our revenue stream even more. A piece of legislation known as House Bill 5 was intended to achieve local income tax uniformity across the state, which we support in principle. We understand the benefit of having consistent forms and local income tax regulations for the many cities in Ohio. But House Bill 5 had components that could cost the city of Miamisburg in the neighborhood of $500,000 more annually. That would bring our total loss in yearly revenues in recent years to $1.5 million, due directly to the decisions made in Columbus. Municipalities worked hard to get House Bill 5 amended in a way that would be revenue neutral while still achieving the goal of uniformity. Unfortunately, these efforts were unsuccessful. While the legislation was not passed into law by the end of the year, we expect a renewed effort at the State House in early 2014. The most current version of the legislation does not fully address the serious concerns of local governments across the state. So if passed, it would be another blow to cities and counties who will be left once again to find ways to cope with revenue losses and to properly fund the basic services people like you rely on every day. Our commitment to being responsible stewards of taxpayers' dollars has led council and staff to reassess some key city services in recent years. For example, nearly 2 years ago, Miamisburg joined with Miami Township to establish the Miami Valley Fire District. This was done after a lengthy study process concluded that formation of a joint fire district would provide fire and EMS services to both communities in a more cost-effective manner. And I'm pleased to report that so far, the fire district has done exactly what it was intended to do. Service levels have been maintained, with the cost savings totaling tens of thousands of dollars. Miamisburg's transition to private trash and recycling collection is another example. It was about a year ago that Rumpke became the first private hauler to provide this service in Miamisburg. Previously, it was provided in-house by city employees with city-owned equipment. This was a major change for our community, but one that has been successful for both our local government and our residents. For the same monthly fee, residents have seen some service enhancements by Rumpke, while the city projects a $3 million cost savings over the first 5 years of the relationship. Now that's significant. One of the most positive aspects in the transition has been the increased volume of recycling that our residents are doing. Rumpke provided every local household with a new recycling container on wheels, which is much larger than the previous bins used for recycling. With the larger capacity, residents have increased the recycling by over a third. That's good for the environment because it keeps more material out of the waste stream. So I encourage residents to continue with this increased level of recycling, and I commend Rumpke for the start of a good partnership with Miamisburg. And a third example of our recent assessment of city services involves our water and sewer utilities. Council and staff worked with a consultant for more than a year to consider options for the future of these systems. The study was prompted by the need for over $60 million in improvements to the infrastructure. Now that's a daunting figure for a community our size. So city officials considered whether or not to maintain control of the local system and the financial responsibility that goes along with that, or to transition our system over to a regional provider. Both Montgomery County and the City of Dayton were options to provide all or part of these critical services and to assume responsibility for the infrastructure improvements that are necessary. As part of the review process, we hosted 2 public meetings to enable residents to express their views on this key issue. In the end, after much consideration, Council opted to maintain city control over the water and sewer systems and prepare for a series of major improvement projects ahead. In doing so, they agreed that additional rate increases will be necessary to fund these improvements, many of which are required to meet EPA regulations. As these future rate increases are communicated, we remind residents that Miamisburg current rates are right in the middle of the range charged by 63 providers in Southwest Ohio. The increased funding will allow the city to maintain local control of the utility and to ensure the service and safety our residents have come to expect. However the fiscal climate may change, it is our job as a local government to move forward, serving our residents and accomplishing significant things. Some of those things can only be achieved with funding partners. For example, last summer the city concluded a major road improvement project on Linden Avenue that spanned 2 construction seasons. Linden was essentially rebuilt between 7th Street and Maui Road, including extensive utility work, a slight realignment, and new sidewalk, curb, and gutters on both sides of the street. It was a successful project that was finished on time and on budget. The total cost was $1.4 million, and $1.1 million of that was provided by the state's Issue 2 program. We're very appreciative of that funding. Linden is a major corridor through our community, and the improvements have enhanced the appearance of that area, and made it safer for both motorists and pedestrians. CG Construction and Utilities of Miamisburg served as general contractor on the project, and we want to commend them on a job well done. A second major roadway project was completed in 2013 that benefited from a funding partner. Up at the Mound Advanced Technology Center, Vanguard Boulevard was extended to become the main road through the campus and fully connect the site's north and south entrances. This infrastructure improvement is important to the ongoing transformation of Mound into a private business park, and it was made possible by a $4 million grant by the state's Jobs Ready Sites program. We're full steam ahead with redevelopment efforts at this 306-acre site, where the U.S. Department of Energy once served as Miamisburg's largest employer. The Mound Development Corporation leads that redevelopment effort, and the MDC welcomed a new leader in 2013. Miamisburg native Eric Cluxton, who had been chairman of the board, succeeds Mike Growellman as president. Mike retired after doing a great job leading that organization for about 20 years. Mike represented our community's interests in the successful environmental cleanup of the site and leading a complex reuse effort that was unprecedented in our nation. We owe Mike a debt of thanks and wish him all the best in retirement. Now Eric is moving forward and bringing extensive private sector experience to the job. He's providing fresh direction as we look to continue expanding economic activity at the Mound. In the time we have remaining, I would like to touch briefly on a few final highlights from 2013. The Miamisburg Police Department replaced several vehicles in its fleet. Among the purchases were 2 SUVs, which is new for our police force. The Public Works Department acquired several much-needed vehicles, including 2 trucks and a new leaf collection box. And the Miami Valley Fire District purchased its first new pieces of apparatus, a medic unit and fire truck. Capital purchases like these are very worthwhile and good investments for local government. After delaying capital purchases for a couple years due to budget constraints, I'm pleased that we've been able to now take steps to keep our fleet modern and functional to best serve the needs of the community. Miamisburg has numerous railroad crossings near its downtown district, and the Norfolk Southern Rail Company made $1.3 million in safety upgrades at these crossings in 2013. Work included new signals, gates, and warning lights, along with minor curb and gutter modifications. These improvements were part of a subsidy agreement with the city and also included the permanent closure of the Buckeye Street crossing. We appreciate Norfolk Southern's attention to our community and their efforts to enhance these crossings. Our finance department received some nice recognition near the end of the year. Ohio Auditor David Yost announced that Miamisburg was the winner of an Auditor of the State Award with distinction. This award is presented to local governments and school districts upon the completion of a financial audit that is deemed clean and meets several criteria. I want to congratulate the entire finance department for their outstanding work. I also want to remind residents about one service enhancement related to finance. About a year ago, the city began accepting income tax payments online through a link located on our homepage. I encourage you to take advantage of this convenient payment method going forward. Another achievement I want to acknowledge related to our city's commitment to employee safety. In an audit conducted by the Miami Valley Risk Management Association, Miamisburg scored 100% compliance. MVRMA is an insurance risk pool of local governments in this region. Its annual audit is designed to measure the extent to which a municipality takes affirmative steps to protect its workers from injury and protect the community from liability. Our perfect score reflects the strong commitment to safety and risk management within our organization, and I want to commend all of our employees for their efforts in this area. Last year was certainly eventful for the Miamisburg Parks and Recreation Department. Our city has invested significantly in recreation facilities over the years, and it is something that our residents tell us they enjoy and appreciate. Recreational opportunities add to the quality of life in a community, and Miamisburg strives to meet the evolving needs of our citizens. There were several changes and improvements in 2013 worthy of mention. Perhaps the biggest development came last fall when the city assumed responsibility for the after-school programming at the Miamisburg Youth Center. The Youth Center was previously operated as a community-based nonprofit, but budget constraints forced its board of directors to cease operations after 40 years. So the city stepped in, conducted some building renovations, and reshaped the programming under the new name, Club Impact. This is a free drop-in program on weekday afternoons for grades 3 through 8. It is fully supervised by staff members and offers a variety of enrichment activities. I think there is still need for the youth center in our community, and I'm very pleased the city could meet this need. We are, however, accepting financial contributions from individuals, churches, fraternal organizations, and businesses to help support this program. If you're interested, please call the Parks and Recreation Department at 866-4532. Also added as a city-provided service in 2013 was the management of the Mound Golf Course. This 9-hole facility has been run by Kemper Sports Management for about 2 decades, along with our 18-hole Pipestone Golf Course. But we determined that Mound may benefit from sharper focus on the local market, so the city now oversees this operation. Last year was the 75th anniversary for Mound, and there were special events to mark the milestone, along with some interior renovations to the clubhouse. It is still a popular and well-maintained course for golfers of all skill levels. If you haven't played Mound in a while, I encourage you to do so in 2014. Residents may have noticed 2 visible improvements related to recreation in the community. First, in Library Park on Central Avenue, the city more fully developed a Veterans Memorial area right along the roadway. The new raised flower beds, pavers, additional landscaping add prominence to this patriotic section of the park. It's a nice upgrade, and I want to thank the Miamisburg Spring Fling Committee for funding this project. That committee has been very generous to our community throughout the years, and this is the latest example. Secondly, nearly 45 dispensers were installed throughout the community containing plastic bags that dog walkers can use for waste disposal. As our citizens spend time getting exercise for themselves and their pet, these stations make it easier for them to keep our neighborhoods and parks clean. And finally, regarding recreation, the city began participating in a study to determine the need and the feasibility for a new multi-purpose wellness center. We're doing this jointly with Miami Township, Miamisburg City Schools, and the Kettering Health Network, which owns our local Sycamore Medical Center. These 4 entities obtained a grant from the state of Ohio to conduct this study, and it launched in the fall with several forums for public input. A facility like this is the one missing component in our inventory of recreational offerings, and I think it would be valued by our citizens. But it will likely take multiple partners to get it done. I look forward to seeing how this process evolves in 2014. In reviewing all these highlights in our community, I hope you can see why I'm optimistic about the future. I hope you share in that optimism. We are a can-do community, and by continuing to work together, we can make our city the best it can be. Great things are happening in Miamisburg, and I thank you for allowing me to serve as your mayor. Joining me in public service is a city council that shares my enthusiasm for our community. In January, our 4 ward representatives on council began new terms, and I look forward to continuing our good work together. I also want to acknowledge our highly trained and professional city staff that serves with great dedication. That concludes my State of the City address for 2014. As usual, I want to thank the fine staff at the Miami Valley Communications Council for helping develop this presentation for cable television. I also want to thank you for watching. My friends, as we begin looking ahead to Miamisburg's 200th birthday in 2018, I can tell you with assurance that the state of our city is strong, and with the support of our caring citizens, I am confident that we can build on that strength and reach our potential as a community. I'm Dick Church, Jr. May God bless you and your family, and may God bless America.